Right. From sad news there, we move on. The husband and embattled Meru Governor Governor Mwangaza has not been employed by the county. A Senate committee has had. The Senate Special Committee probing grounds for the impeachment of Kawira was told that Murega Baichu does not have a letter of appointment or a physical office allocated to him. Arizon Gitonga, who is Meru County Chief of Staff and Kawira's private secretary, further told the committee Baichu does not draw any salary or allowances from the devolved unit. Sharon Chepchumba brings us that story.
The only witness testifying in favor of Meru Governor Governor Mwangaza in impeachment proceedings now says that her husband Bureka Baichu does not get any salary from the county coffers and does not interfere with the county affairs.
Point to the committee where your letter or any communication to the County Public Service Board touching on the appointment of the first gentleman appears.
When I got this information, I wrote the first letter to the Secretary Public Service Board.
What is the date of that letter?
22nd of November.
What did you inquire from the County Public Service Board?
I was requesting to know about the arranged appointment of the first gentleman and a few other people that I listed in my letter. The response from the Public Service Board is that the first gentleman was not employed by the Public Service Board.
And what was the response from the payroll master?
Is that they are not in the payroll.
Then he is not in the payroll?
Yes, he is not in the payroll.
The witness Harrison Katobu told the Senate Special Committee that the appointment of Baichu as the county youth patron and Hustlers ambassador was just an honorary appointment to empower the youth.
Accusation that the governor has appointed certain people who either do not qualify or without following procedure into public office.
Yes, I'm aware.
Who were those people that are said to have been appointed by the governor?
There is one Monene Samaritan.
One Monene Samaritan.
There is one Enere Muzungu.
Ende Muzungu.
And there is one Ernest Mutembe. They all responded with the attached letters that those are not employees of the county government of Meru and they are not earning any money or any pay from county government of Meru.
In voting to impeach Mwangaza, the Meru MCAs accused her of employing her husband in the county.
Are you really being fair to us? Are you attempting to play mind games? You make an application, we listen to it, and before we make a determination, you then make your own determination and you say that to be reflected in the record.
To the extent that these people are not being called to testify and specifically to be cross-examined, we run the distinct disadvantage that whereas the governor's side has had the ample opportunity to challenge all our witnesses by way of cross-examination, we deny an equal opportunity. You just said for the goose is good for the gander. Now our problem, Chair, is we can't force persons who are unwilling to testify to take the witness stand. But I also understand, whereas the decision the governor and the deponents of those affidavits have made is perfectly within their rights, the decision they took is not to give evidence in chief. We would want it to be clear from the record that we are making an application to cross-examine the governor and our witnesses on the deposition set out in those affidavits.
On Tuesday, the first witness testifying against Meru Governor Governor Mwangaza at the Senate impeachment hearings singled out her husband as the biggest problem in the county.
Such appointments, we were told they are political. would they undermine the discharge of the functions of the statutory bodies in question?
Yes, they would, because we have seen the first gentleman exercise the powers bestowed on him as the patron of Meru Youth Service that has led to other illegalities that are in this motion. And when you appoint someone to an office with other people and with a big budget in the county budget, you cannot claim that it's just because he's not paid. You appointed him to do something. It's not just for the sake of it. And the county governor is the CEO of our county. She's not a comedian. They're supposed to take our work serious.
We're urging you, Chair, to consider whether indeed, given the gravity of the evidence we placed before you, whether we actually haven't taken too long to come before the Senate. And our case will be that it is not too early. We have actually taken too long. We would have arrived much earlier. All these problems are because she's a woman. You know, if she wasn't a woman, she would not be subjected to all these problems. Chair will be inviting you to ask yourself, if that were true, how come all the women MCAs voted to impeach her? She cannot be the only woman in the government of Meru who understands gender issues. Is it possible? And of course, we know the Senate must make its own independent decision, and this is not an insult to the Senate, but is it possible that all these MCAs are misguided and all they have is misconceived? They don't know what is a gross violation of the law. They have imagined all these things. They actually didn't take place. We will ask you very humbly to reflect.
The 11-member committee will determine whether accusations levied against the governor warrant her removal. Mwangaza became the first county boss to be impeached barely 3 months after being sworn in.
You have been in office for that long, but just 64 days after being in office, your colleagues who are elected by you, alongside with you, are asking the Senate that you go away forever, just after 64 days. And they have not just come shouting, they have come with 62 grounds. I'm therefore giving you 2 hours to move slowly, meticulously. You discharge yourself on each and every one of those 62 counts. We will allow you. And members of County Assembly will further allow you to ensure that you prove your case on every count.
Yesterday, I remember there was a Catholic priest. And Mr. Speaker, he said he was here because of how he felt, because of his feelings. I'm trying to imagine the gentleman standing here is also here because of how he's feeling about the governor. So do you want me to judge the governor from how the gentleman feels? So I urge, and I would want to assist the side of the governor. The governor is accused. And the issue here is more egocentric than constitutional. We would want to hear, we are here to see, maybe we must start judging the governor. That's the way she is. She doesn't talk to people. She doesn't want even to hear. I don't want to do that now. But I'm trying to help the side of the governor.
For Maisha Prime Maisha Television, I'm Sharon Chepchumba.